There comes a moment in every person's life when the waiting has to stop. The waiting for someone to notice your potential. The waiting for someone to rescue you from your circumstances. The waiting for the perfect opportunity, the perfect connection, the perfect timing. And in that moment, you realize something powerful and uncomfortable at the same time. No one is coming to save you. That truth is not meant to discourage you. It is meant to awaken you. For a long time, many of us are conditioned to believe that someone else will fix what feels broken. We wait for approval to validate us. We wait for luck to change our direction. We wait for a mentor to guide us step by step. And while guidance and support are beautiful gifts, they are not substitutes for personal responsibility. Your life is your assignment. Your growth is your responsibility. Your dreams are yours to pursue. When you accept that no one is coming to save you, something extraordinary happens. You stop seeing yourself as powerless. You stop blaming circumstances. You stop rehearsing excuses. Instead, you begin to ask, what can I do with what I have right now? That shift changes everything, because the moment you take ownership, you take back your power. Pushing yourself every day does not mean burning out. It does not mean ignoring your need for rest. It means refusing to settle. It means choosing growth over comfort. It means waking up with the understanding that even small steps matter. Some days pushing yourself might mean having a difficult conversation. Some days it might mean getting out of bed when your spirit feels heavy. Some days it might mean learning something new, trying again, or forgiving yourself and moving forward. No one else can build your confidence for you. No one else can discipline your habits. No one else can heal your wounds. People can support you, encourage you, and love you, but they cannot do the internal work that transformation requires. That work belongs to you. And that is not a burden, it is a privilege. Because if the responsibility is yours, so is the power. There is greatness inside you that will never be activated by comfort alone. Growth demands effort. It demands that you stretch beyond what feels easy. Every time you push yourself just a little further, you expand your capacity. You prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses, braver than your fears, more capable than your doubts. Waiting keeps you stuck. Action moves you forward. You may not control where you started. You may not control every obstacle in your path. But you control your response. You control your effort. You control your mindset. And when you commit to pushing yourself daily, you build momentum that no setback can easily destroy. There will be days when you feel tired. There will be moments when you question whether it is worth it. But remember this, the life you desire requires the version of you that refuses to quit. The dream requires discipline. The vision requires consistency. The transformation requires you to show up, especially when no one is watching. No one is coming to save you, but you have everything within you to rise. You have resilience. You have intelligence. You have intuition. You have the ability to learn, adapt, and evolve. The power you keep looking for outside yourself has been within you all along. So stop waiting for a rescue and start becoming your own hero. Push yourself every day. Not because you are lacking, but because you are capable of more. The moment you take full responsibility for your growth is the moment your life begins to change. And when you look back one day, you will realize that the person who saved you was you all along. Personal responsibility unlocks personal power, because the moment you decide that life is in your hands, everything begins to shift. As long as you believe that your circumstances, your past, or other people control your destiny, you remain stuck in a position of waiting for change, waiting for opportunity, waiting for someone else to fix what feels broken. But the instant you accept responsibility for your choices, your reactions, and your growth, you step into a different level of strength. Taking personal responsibility does not mean blaming yourself for everything that has ever happened. It means recognizing that while you cannot control every situation, you can control how you respond. It will bring unfair moments, unexpected losses, and difficult challenges. Those realities are part of being human. However, your response to those realities determines whether you remain powerless or become empowered. When you say, "This is my life and I will decide how to move forward," you reclaim authority over your direction. Many people unknowingly give their power by constantly pointing outward. They blame their upbringing, their boss, their partner, the economy, or bad luck. While external factors can influence outcomes, living in blame keeps you stuck. Blame feels temporarily relieving because it removes pressure, removes control. Responsibility, on the other hand, may feel heavier at first, but it carries freedom because if your actions matter, then your effort matters. If your mindset matters, then your growth is possible. Personal responsibility also strengthens your self-trust. When you consistently take ownership of your actions, you build integrity with yourself. You stop making excuses for procrastination. You stop justifying harmful habits. You start asking, what can I do better next time? That question alone is powerful. It shifts your focus from victimhood to improvement. Instead of feeling defeated by mistakes, you learn from them. Instead of hiding failure, you use it as feedback. There is incredible power in knowing that your daily decisions shape your future. The small choices you make each day, how you spend your time, how you manage your emotions, how you treat others, all compound over time. When you accept responsibility for those choices, you become intentional. You no longer drift through life reacting to circumstances. You begin to design your days with purpose. That intention builds momentum, and momentum builds confidence. Responsibility also enhances resilience. When setbacks occur, you do not collapse under the weight of them. You assess the situation honestly. You ask yourself what role you played, what you can adjust, and what lesson you can carry forward. This mindset transforms obstacles into stepping stones. It turns challenges into classrooms. Instead of seeing yourself as powerless in the face of difficulty, you see yourself as capable of growth. Taking ownership of your life requires courage. Easier to stay comfortable in excuses. It is easier to say this is just how things are. But growth demands honesty. It demands that you confront areas where you can improve. It demands discipline. And discipline, practiced consistently, becomes strength. The more you hold yourself accountable, the more capable you feel. The more capable you feel, the more confident you become. Personal responsibility unlocks personal power because it shifts your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone waiting to be rescued and start seeing yourself as someone capable of change. You begin to understand that your thoughts influence your actions and your actions influence your results. This awareness allows you to rewrite patterns that no longer serve you. Ultimately, responsibility is not a burden. It is a gift. It places the steering wheel of your life back in your hands. Reminds you that while you may not control every storm, you can adjust your sails. When you choose ownership over excuses, growth over blame, and action over waiting, you activate a level of power that has always been within you. And that power has the ability to transform not only your circumstances, but your entire sense of self. Waiting keeps you stuck. Action creates momentum because progress is never built on hesitation alone. There is a quiet trap in waiting. It feels safe. It feels responsible. It feels like preparation. You tell yourself you are waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, the right connection, the right version of yourself. But often what you call waiting is simply fear dressed up as patience. And while you are waiting, life keeps moving. Waiting can become a habit. You wait to feel confident before you apply. You wait to feel ready before you begin. You wait for approval before you speak. You wait for clarity before you decide. The problem is that clarity rarely comes before movement. Confidence rarely appears before effort. Rarely exists without experience. When you stay in waiting mode, you remain in the same emotional and mental space. Nothing shifts because you are not actioning action. Even imperfect action interrupts stagnation. The moment you take a step, however small, you send a signal to yourself that you are capable. That signal builds energy. Energy builds belief. Belief builds consistency. And consistency builds results. Momentum does not begin with a giant leap. It begins with one deliberate choice to move instead of remain still. There is something powerful about forward motion. When you act, you gather information. You learn what works and what does not. You discover strengths you did not know you had. You develop resilience by navigating obstacles. None of that growth happens while you are waiting on the sidelines. Experience is the greatest teacher. Experience only comes through action. Waiting often disguises itself as perfectionism. You want the plan to be flawless before you start. You want your skills to be polished before you try. You want your circumstances to be ideal before you commit. But perfection is an illusion that delays progress. Growth is messy. Progress includes mistakes. Movement includes missteps. The key difference between those who advance and those who remain stuck is not talent. It is willingness to begin before everything feels perfect. Action also shifts your emotional state. When you remain idle for too long, doubt grows louder. Fear expands in empty space. Overthinking fills the silence, but when you act even in small ways, your focus changes. You move from imagining worst-case scenarios to engaging with real outcomes. You replace endless speculation with tangible experience. That shift alone reduces anxiety and increases confidence. Momentum has a compounding effect. One action leads to another. A task builds motivation for the next. Each step reinforces your identity as someone who follows through. And as that identity strengthens, hesitation weakens. You begin to trust yourself more. You begin to believe that progress is possible because you are actively creating it. It is important to understand that action does not mean recklessness. It means intentional movement. It means choosing to engage rather than avoid. It means deciding that learning through doing is better than staying frozen in uncertainty. Sometimes action will lead to success. Sometimes it will lead to lessons. Either way, you are moving forward. Waiting keeps you stuck because it convinces you that your life will change without your participation. Action creates momentum because it requires your involvement. It demands courage. It demands commitment. But it also rewards you with growth. When you stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating progress with the moment you have, you reclaim control over your direction. The future is not shaped by intentions alone. It is shaped by consistent effort. Every step, no matter how small, contributes to a larger shift. The more you move, the easier it becomes to keep moving. And then before you realize it, once felt impossible begins to feel achievable. That is the power of momentum. It begins the moment you choose action over waiting, and it transforms your life one step at a time. Daily builds long-term transformation, because real change is never created in a single dramatic moment. It is built quietly, consistently, and intentionally through small actions repeated over time. Many people desire transformation. They want success, confidence, health, peace, or growth. But what they often underestimate is the power of ordinary days. The truth is that your life is shaped far more by what you do daily than by what you do occasionally. Discipline is not about punishment. It is about commitment. It is about choosing what matters most over what feels easiest in the moment. Motivation can inspire you to start, but discipline keeps you going when motivation fades. There will be days when you do not feel inspired. There will be mornings when comfort calls your name louder than purpose. That is where discipline steps in. It reminds you of who you said you wanted to become. Transformation is a process. It requires repetition. If you want to become stronger, you train consistently. If you want to become knowledgeable, you study regularly. If you want to build confidence, you practice stepping outside your comfort zone repeatedly. These actions may seem small on any given day, but over months and years they compound. The person you become is the result of those daily deposits. Daily discipline also builds self-trust. Every time you follow through on a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you reinforce the belief that you are reliable. When you say you will wake up early, and you do. When you say you will exercise and you follow through. When you say you will complete a task and you finish it, you strengthen your integrity with yourself. That integrity becomes the foundation of confidence. You begin to believe in your own words. Long-term transformation requires patience. We live in a world that celebrates instant results, but meaningful growth rarely happens overnight. It is easy to feel discouraged when progress is slow. However, discipline teaches you to value consistency over speed. It teaches you to focus on the process rather than obsessing over immediate outcomes. When you commit to daily effort, you detach from the need for quick validation and embrace steady improvement. There will be setbacks. There will be days when you fall short of your own expectations. Discipline does not mean perfection. It means returning to your commitment even after a mistake. It means refusing to let one off day become a permanent pattern. The power lies in coming back. The power lies in choosing again. That resilience is part of transformation. Daily discipline also strengthens your mindset. It trains you to delay gratification. It helps you prioritize long-term vision over short-term comfort. It builds mental toughness because each time you choose effort over ease, you expand your capacity. Over time, what once felt difficult becomes normal. Required intense effort becomes habit, and habits shape identity. Transformation is not just external, it is internal. As you practice discipline daily, your thinking shifts. You start to see yourself as someone who follows through. You start to believe that change is possible because you are actively participating in it. This shift in identity is powerful. When you identify as disciplined, your actions align with that belief naturally. Daily discipline builds long-term transformation because it turns intention into reality. Dreams remain dreams without consistent action. Goals remain ideas without effort. When you align your daily behavior with your long-term vision, you create momentum that cannot easily be stopped. Each small step builds on the last. Each choice strengthens your character. In the end, transformation is not about dramatic breakthroughs. It is about steady progress. It is about showing up when no one is watching. It is about honoring your commitments even when it would be easier to quit. When you embrace daily discipline, you are investing in a future version of yourself. And over time, those quiet daily decisions shape a life that reflects growth, strength, and lasting change. Growth happens when you choose courage over comfort, because comfort keeps you familiar while courage moves you forward. Comfort feels safe, it feels predictable. It allows you to avoid risk, rejection, and uncertainty. But while comfort protects you from discomfort, it also protects you from expansion. Nothing new is created inside the boundaries of what is easy. Real growth begins at the edge of what feels uncomfortable. Every meaningful change in life requires a moment of bravery. It requires speaking when silence would be easier. It requires trying when failure feels possible. It requires walking away when staying feels familiar. Courage does not mean you are not afraid. It means you decide that your desire for growth is stronger than your desire to remain safe. Fear may still be present, but it no longer controls your choices. Comfort zones are subtle. They do not always look like laziness. Sometimes they look like routine. Sometimes they look like stability. Sometimes they look like relationships or jobs that feel secure but no longer inspire you. The comfort zone convinces you that staying still is wise. It whispers that now is not the right time, that you are not ready, that you should wait until everything is certain. But certainty rarely comes before action. It often arrives after you take the leap. Choosing courage over comfort builds resilience. When you step into unfamiliar territory, you stretch your abilities. You learn how to adapt. You discover strengths you did not know you had. Even if you stumble, you gain experience. Even if you fail, you gain wisdom. Each courageous decision expands your capacity to handle challenges. Over Over time, what once intimidated you becomes manageable. That is growth in motion. Courage also strengthens self-trust. Every time you act despite fear, you send yourself a powerful message. You prove that you are capable of handling discomfort. You prove that you can survive rejection, uncertainty, or temporary setbacks. That proof builds confidence. It reminds you that your potential is larger than your anxiety. Growth often requires letting go of outdated beliefs, letting go of environments that limit you, letting go of versions of yourself that no longer align with who you are becoming. These decisions are rarely easy. They involve discomfort. They may involve loss, but they also create space for something better. When you release what is familiar but stagnant, you make room for expansion. Choosing courage does not mean making reckless decisions. It means being intentional about stepping toward your goals, even when the path is not guaranteed. It means having difficult conversations rather than avoiding them. It means applying for opportunities that stretch your qualifications. It means setting boundaries even when it feels uncomfortable. These small acts of bravery accumulate. They shape your character and redefine what you believe is possible. Comfort may feel good in the moment, but long-term fulfillment rarely comes from staying where you are. It comes from evolving. It comes from pushing beyond limitations. It comes from embracing the unknown with determination. Growth requires movement, and movement requires courage. When you look back on your life, the moments that shaped you most will likely be the ones where you chose bravery, the times you stood up for yourself, the times you started over, the times you pursued something bigger than your fear. Those decisions may have felt terrifying at the time, but they became turning points. Growth happens when you choose courage over comfort because courage activates change. It challenges your limits. It expands your vision, strengthens your spirit. Each time you step outside what feels easy, you step closer to who you are capable of becoming. And that version of you, the one built through brave choices and bold action, is stronger, wiser, and more fulfilled than any version created by staying comfortable. You already have the strength you are searching for, even if you have not fully recognized it yet. So often we look outside ourselves for validation, encouragement, and reassurance. We believe someone else holds the answer, the power, the breakthrough we need. We wait for a mentor to guide us, for a sign to confirm us, for a moment to rescue us. But the truth is, the strength you admire in others has always existed within you. It may be quiet, it may be buried under doubt, but it is there. Think about the challenges you have already survived, the disappointments that once felt unbearable, the setbacks that shook your confidence, the seasons when you questioned everything. You are still here. That alone is evidence of strength. You endured. You adapted. You continued. Strength is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it looks like getting out of bed when your heart feels heavy. Sometimes it looks like trying again after rejection. Sometimes it looks like choosing hope when giving up would be easier. The problem is not the absence of strength. The problem is often the absence of belief. When you tell yourself you are not strong enough, you overlook the proof of your resilience. You focus on what you lack instead of what you have already overcome. But strength grows when it is acknowledged. The more you recognize your ability to handle difficulty, the more confident you become in facing what lies ahead. There's a difference between weakness and vulnerability. Feeling afraid does not mean you are weak. Feeling uncertain does not mean you are incapable. Strength is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite it. It is the willingness to stand up after falling. It is the courage to confront uncomfortable truths and still choose growth. Those qualities are already part of you. Many times, strength reveals itself only when it is required. You may not feel strong while you are in the middle of a storm. You may feel overwhelmed, confused, or exhausted, but strength often works quietly behind the scenes. It allows you to keep going one step at a time. It helps you breathe through pressure. It keeps you anchored when circumstances try to shake you. When the storm passes, you look back and realize you handled more than you thought you could. You also build strength through daily choices. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, courage over comfort, action over waiting, you reinforce your inner power. These small decisions compound. They shape your identity. They remind you that you are capable of growth. Strength is not a trait reserved for a few. It is a muscle that develops with use. Sometimes you search for strength because you underestimate yourself. You compare your journey to someone else's highlight reel. You assume their confidence is natural and your doubt is permanent. But you do not see their private battles. You do not see their moments of insecurity. Strength does not mean perfection. It means persistence. It means continuing even when progress feels slow. The strength you are searching for is present in your willingness to learn, is present in your desire to improve. It is present in your ability to reflect and adjust. It is present in your capacity to love, to forgive, to begin again. Those are not small qualities. They are powerful foundations. You do not need to become someone entirely different to access strength. You need to recognize what is already within you. You need to trust that you can handle what comes next. You need to remind yourself that past survival is proof of future capability. You already have the strength you are searching for because you have endured, you have grown, and you have continued. The power you seek is not outside your reach. It is inside your decisions, your mindset, and your determination. When you stop searching outward and start believing inward, you activate a force that has always been there, waiting for you to claim it. In conclusion, the message is simple yet powerful. No one is coming to save you, and that is not something to fear. It is something to embrace. The moment you accept full responsibility for your life is the moment you reclaim your power. Waiting keeps you stuck in the same place, but action creates momentum. Daily discipline shapes your character. Courage stretches your limits, and every small decision you make builds the foundation of your future. Growth is not accidental. It happens when you choose effort over excuses, bravery over comfort, and ownership over blame. The transformation you desire will not arrive through luck or rescue. It will arrive through consistency, through intentional choices, and through the quiet strength you already possess. You have more resilience than you realize. You have already survived challenges that once seemed impossible. That same strength is available to you now. The power you keep searching for has always been within you, waiting for you to believe in it. So stop waiting, stop doubting, stop postponing your potential. Push yourself every day, not because you are lacking, but because you are capable of more. The life you want is built by the actions you take, the mindset you choose, and the courage you practice consistently. No one is coming to save you, but you do not need saving. You need commitment. You need belief. You need to show up for your own life. And when you do, you will discover that the hero of your story has been you all along.